There is a strange truth in female psychology. Many women do not realize the value of a man until he is no longer available in the way he once was. When a woman takes a man for granted, she assumes his love, effort, and presence will always be there, like a constant background in her life. But the moment he pulls back, invests in himself, and stops chasing, something shifts inside her. What once felt ordinary now feels rare. What once seemed replaceable suddenly feels irreplaceable. This is when the missing begins. She replays memories, wonders why he changed, and questions her own choices. In this essay, we will explore the subtle but powerful stages of how women start missing the man they overlooked. These insights are not just about relationships. They are about understanding human behavior, self-respect, and the psychology of attraction. 1. Emotional memory triggers. When a woman begins to miss the man she once overlooked, one of the strongest forces at play is the power of emotional memory. Human beings do not just remember events, they remember the feelings connected to those events. For women, this emotional memory is particularly strong because their psychology is deeply tied to bonding, nurturing, and connection. When a man provided her with laughter, safety, or comfort during vulnerable times, those experiences get stored as emotional imprints. At first, when she takes him for granted, these memories may lie dormant, unnoticed, and even dismissed. She convinces herself that she can find someone else to make her feel that way. But once the man pulls away and his presence is no longer there to reinforce those emotions, the mind replays them like a loop. A song they listened to together, a place they visited, or even a simple scent can trigger waves of nostalgia. These small reminders become emotional hooks that pull her back into longing. Psychologists often explain this through the concept of emotional anchors. When a person becomes the anchor for strong emotions, whether happiness, peace, or excitement, those feelings remain attached even after the person is gone. In the case of the man she took for granted, she begins to realize that the depth of what she felt with him is not easily replicated. Every new experience with someone else falls short because her mind keeps comparing it to the emotional intensity he once gave her. Another key point is timing. Women often begin to miss a man during quiet moments, not when they are busy or distracted. Loneliness intensifies emotional memory. Late at night, when her phone is silent, or when she scrolls through old photos, she begins to relive the bond. The very memories she once brushed aside now become treasures she cannot ignore. Regret also amplifies this process. When she realizes she had something genuine but failed to appreciate it, regret magnifies the weight of those memories. Instead of simply recalling a moment, she feels a sharp sense of loss because she knows she contributed to the distance. That sense of accountability makes her long for him even more, because now the memories are bittersweet. They are reminders of what she had and what she may never get back. Ultimately, emotional memory is the silent force that makes her miss him deeply. Even if she tries to move on, the imprints of his care, his presence, and his uniqueness remain. Over time, these memories remind her that what she dismissed as ordinary was, in fact, extraordinary. And that realization often comes too late, leaving her stuck between longing and regret. 2. Comparison with other men. One of the most powerful moments when a woman starts missing the man she once took for granted is when she begins comparing him to other men. At first, she may believe that she can easily replace him, thinking that the world is full of options and someone better will come along. This belief often fuels her casual attitude toward the relationship. However, once she steps into the dating world or even entertains attention from other men, reality begins to challenge that assumption. What she quickly realizes is that not all men are built the same. The qualities that once seemed ordinary in the man she overlooked, his patience, his listening ear, his loyalty, his willingness to protect and provide, are not so common after all. Many men may show interest in her, but their attention might be shallow, short-lived, or driven by self-interest. Some may lack the emotional maturity, consistency, or effort that her previous man naturally gave without asking for anything in return. This comparison creates a psychological shift. She starts noticing the gap between what she had and what she now encounters. A simple act like him remembering her favorite coffee order or checking in on her well-being suddenly feels rare compared to men who barely make an effort. What she once labeled as boring or predictable now begins to look like stability, reliability, and love, things she realizes she cannot easily find elsewhere. The brain naturally works through contrast. When exposed to different experiences, the mind measures them against one another. This is why comparisons often trigger longing. For example, she may go on a date with someone who is physically attractive but emotionally detached. In that moment, she recalls how her ex would notice her feelings instantly, offer comfort, or create a sense of warmth. That memory becomes a point of comparison, highlighting what she lost. Another powerful aspect of comparison is timing. The longer she interacts with other men, the clearer the distinction becomes. At first, she may feel excited by attention or novelty, but with time, disappointment sets in. It dawns on her that while many men may want her, very few are willing to invest in her on the deeper level that the man she took for granted once did. This realization is often painful, because it forces her to confront her own choices and pride. This stage also intensifies her sense of regret. She may even find herself saying things like, "He wasn't perfect, but at least he cared," or "I never realized how good I had it." These thoughts slowly turn into longing, as she compares every new man to the standard he unknowingly set. What she once overlooked now becomes the very thing she desires, and ironically, she may now chase the very man she once ignored. 3. The power of silence. Silence is one of the most underrated but powerful forces in human psychology, and in relationships, it can completely shift the balance of emotions. When a man who was once always available suddenly becomes quiet, distant, or focused on his own life, it sends a shockwave into a woman's mind. She starts asking herself questions she never asked before. Why isn't he calling me? Has he moved on? Did I lose him for good? This silence becomes louder than words because it creates uncertainty, and uncertainty fuels curiosity, desire, and longing. In the beginning, she may assume his silence is temporary. Perhaps she thinks he is busy or just distracted. But as time passes, the silence grows heavier. It forces her to reflect on her actions and the way she treated him. The very attention she once dismissed now feels like something she desperately craves. She scrolls through her phone, tempted to reach out, because the silence makes her realize how accustomed she had become to his constant presence. This effect ties back to basic psychology. Human beings are drawn to what they cannot easily predict or control. When he was always available, she felt secure, even to the point of taking it for granted. But when he pulls back into silence, unpredictability enters the dynamic. She no longer knows how he feels, what he is doing, or whether she still has a place in his life. That mystery becomes magnetic. Silence also creates space for self-awareness. During that quiet period, she starts to remember not just him, but how she felt when she was with him. She recalls his laughter, his consistency, his presence during tough times. And because there is no new interaction to distract her, her mind replays the old ones even more vividly. The silence amplifies emotional memory, turning what was once overlooked into something precious. Another aspect of silence is that it shifts the power dynamic. When a man no longer chases, no longer explains himself, and no longer tries to convince her of his worth, she realizes He has chosen himself. This silent self-respect is deeply attractive because it communicates strength without words. She may begin to wonder if he has found someone else or if he has simply outgrown her. Either way, the silence stirs an emotional storm. In time, that storm grows into missing him. She may even attempt to break the silence, just to see if he still cares. Ironically, the same woman who once ignored his messages now obsesses over his absence. Silence has flipped the script. It transforms him from someone she overlooked into someone she now cannot stop thinking about. This is the power of silence. It forces her to confront the value of what she lost, without him ever needing to say a single word. 4. Seeing him move on. One of the most painful and powerful triggers that make a woman miss the man she once took for granted is watching him move on. When she no longer occupies the center of his world, and he begins to redirect his energy toward himself, his passions, or even another woman, it awakens a storm of emotions inside her. At first, she may have believed that he would always wait for her, that his love and attention were permanent. But when she sees him thriving without her, the reality hits hard. He is no longer hers, and she no longer has control over him. This process often begins subtly. She might notice him posting pictures of new experiences, spending time with friends, or enjoying hobbies she never saw him pursue before. She may see his confidence growing, his appearance improving, and his energy shifting towards self-improvement. While she once saw him as predictable and available, she now sees a man who is reclaiming his value. In that transformation, her perception of him changes. What she once dismissed as ordinary now looks extraordinary, especially when others start noticing him too. The real sting comes when another woman enters the picture. Even if she no longer wanted him, the idea of someone else experiencing his love, care, and attention creates jealousy. Female psychology is often tied to emotional exclusivity. She may not want him, but she certainly does not want anyone else to have him. Seeing him give what was once hers to another person forces her to confront the consequences of her choices. Suddenly, she starts to remember how he treated her, the moments they shared, and the way he made her feel. This comparison between her current loneliness and his newfound happiness makes her long for him even more. Another factor is pride. Many women who take men for granted do so because they assume he will never walk away. When he not only walks away but also improves his life and finds happiness elsewhere, it shatters her ego. She begins to miss him, not just because of love, but because she realizes she underestimated him. He is not the man she thought she could keep waiting in the background. He is a man other women now desire. This is where regret becomes most powerful. She may replay arguments in her head, wishing she had been more patient or more appreciative. She may compare herself to his new partner, wondering what the other woman has that she did not value. This cycle of jealousy, regret, and longing makes her miss him in a way that no amount of silence or memory could. In the end, seeing him move on forces her to face the truth. She lost something valuable because she did not recognize it when she had it. And nothing makes a woman miss a man more than watching him live fully, happily, and confidently without her. 5. Regret and realization. The final and most powerful stage of missing a man she once took for granted is the arrival of deep regret followed by painful realization. This stage usually comes after she has experienced his absence, compared him to others, felt the sting of silence, and witnessed him moving on. At this point, her emotions shift from casual longing to profound regret because she fully understands what she lost and that it may be too late to get it back. Regret often begins with self-reflection. She replays the relationship in her mind, not just the happy moments, but also the times when he tried to show her love, support, or patience that she failed to appreciate. She remembers the arguments where he gave in just to keep the peace, the nights he stayed awake to comfort her, the sacrifices he made without expecting much in return. All of those small acts of love now feel massive because she realizes they came from a man who genuinely cared. Instead of appreciating his effort, she dismissed it as ordinary, and now that it is gone, she aches for it. This regret also forces her to confront her own behavior. Female psychology is often shaped by emotions, and when regret sets in, it comes with guilt and self-blame. She may think, if only I had treated him better, or why did I not see his value sooner? These thoughts torment her because they reveal a painful truth. Her actions contributed to losing a man who would have done anything for her. The weight of that realization can be overwhelming, especially when she knows he has moved on or may never return. The realization goes even deeper than regret. She begins to understand that the qualities she overlooked, loyalty, consistency, kindness, emotional depth, are rare in men. While she once thought she had endless options, she now sees that not every man is capable of giving her the same level of love and stability. This awareness often comes too late, but it reshapes how she views him. He is no longer just another man. He is the one who set the standard she cannot forget. Regret and realization also lead to longing for closure. She may reach out, not always to rekindle the relationship, but to seek reassurance that he still cares, or at least to ease her guilt. Sometimes she might even attempt to win him back. But the truth is, by this stage, the man has often grown stronger and wiser. He may choose to protect his peace rather than return to someone who did not value him. Ironically, this is the moment when her love for him feels strongest, when he is no longer available. Regret teaches her the lesson she ignored earlier. A man's presence, love, and effort should never be taken for granted. And once that realization strikes, she misses him not just as a person, but as the rare and irreplaceable soul he truly was. In the end, female psychology reveals a powerful truth. People rarely miss what they have, but they always miss what they lose. A woman who once took a man for granted only begins to miss him when his absence creates silence, when memories haunt her, when comparisons with other men disappoint her, and when she sees him moving on without hesitation. Regret becomes the teacher she never expected, showing her the value of what she dismissed too easily. For men, the lesson is not about bitterness or revenge, it is about self-respect. When you focus on yourself, protect your energy, and stop over-giving to someone who does not appreciate it, you naturally shift the dynamic. Her psychology does the rest. Missing you becomes inevitable because true value is always recognized in hindsight. So never chase, never beg, and never force someone to see your worth. The right woman will appreciate you while she has you, not when it is too late.